I hope that I dream too big that you think I'm nuts. If I can see it and visualize it in my mind, like, why can't I reach it? Oh, I've already come this far. Why don't I think crazier? Why don't I dream bigger, you know?
You have to be Delulu a little bit.
Welcome back, my $1 billion baby. On this episode, we're going to really break down lucky girl syndrome. What is that really? How do you have it to have the life you truly want to live? I'm bringing on two girls that if you watch their social media, you're just going to be like, wow, how are they building successful businesses, having their own show, traveling the world, and making a lot of money? Well, I'm going to dive in today with Lauren Blake and Casey Boone, so welcome them both and listen closely.
Perfect.
Thank you guys for coming back. You know I love you both, and you guys are my lucky girls, so I feel like this is going to be such a cool subject to get into, lucky girl syndrome. You guys live such like a fun, cool life that I think, like, obviously you guys have been doing it for quite a while, but for the normal person, like watching your guys' Instagram and your stories, they're probably like, holy shit. So you guys are obviously very successful, travel the world, get to do fun stuff, go to every event, Super Bowl, F1, everything. Mm-hmm. So kind of walk us through like what lucky girl syndrome means to you.
You want to go first?
You go for it.
So I think that lucky girl syndrome is just wanting something bad enough that you manifest it happening. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that you are dreaming of it, you see it, you want it, and somehow, you know, because you want it so bad, you put that out into the universe, that the path just kind of aligns and leads you right to it.
Mm-hmm. So true.
That's true. And I feel like piggybacking off that, even though we talk about manifesting all the time, we also make the right steps for these things to happen. Like, we put ourselves out into situations to meet the right people, to like reach out to the right connections to get us to places we want to go. So as much as it's lucky, it's also like the hard work of it too. Like, a lot of people aren't sometimes as willing to put in those steps to get the luck. That's
absolutely right. You're so on point. It is a matter of action, right? You can want it and just like hope for things to happen, but you have to make the steps towards it.
Yeah.
Like, when we are doing, you know, these incredible things in our lives, like we plan this, like we're like, we want to go to this, right? We're going to.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a question, we're going. And it's going to be XYZ and we're going to have so much fun. And you just kind of make it happen. And like how Casey said, putting yourself in the rooms and situations and meeting the right people, networking to make sure that you can, you know, make it happen for yourself, and then wanting it bad enough that it just happens.
Then the luck comes.
So what if someone's watching you guys or sitting at home and they're just like, how do you guys live your life? And they're like, don't really have fun things to do on the weekends and just kind of feel blah. Where do you feel like they begin to be like, okay, I want to create more fun in my life and I want to have more experiences? Would you tell them to begin?
Well, nothing I've figured out for myself, nothing in my comfort zone really like serves me. It's more that I push the limits and I put myself in situations that are a little bit scary. I feel like the blessings kind of continue from that. Like, for example, even moving to the US. I didn't know I was going to actually end up becoming a permanent resident when I moved here, but I traveled all around America, met the right people, and one of those people that I met on that trip changed my life. So it's like, I could sit at home and be like, oh, I wish that could happen. But no, I just packed a bag and I went and I tried to figure out a way to make it happen. So it's like, doing that action, that first step of putting yourself in a room or a situation to change your reality will make the luck come. I think.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to be about that action. So the first step I would say is to think what's going to make you happy, right? Like, where do I see myself? Like, what kind of fun do I want to have? What kind of environment do I want to be in? And then figure out how to get there. You know, it just seems like it's very black and white in the sense of like, decide what makes you happy or what's going to give you that feeling that you're longing for, and then take the actionable steps to it.
Take the first step. Like, don't try to see the end goal at the beginning. I feel like just taking those little baby steps piece by piece will get you to that long-term goal, but take the first jump and don't expect the outcome to be exactly what you want at the start, but each bit by bit, it'll get easier and better.
Yeah, and go with the flow. Because if you're doing it and it leads you a different direction, then run with that. Rather than like, oh no, but this is what I want. But it's like, but this might take you to a place that you never thought possible, and an experience, an adventure that you've been wanting for but didn't even know you could have.
Yeah, that's so true. I was also thinking while you guys were talking how important it is to surround yourself with other people that think like that, right? 100%. Like, you two probably help each other a lot.
Oh yeah. we bounce off each other so much.
Yeah, we're very much go-getters.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and we're both on a similar mindset, as you said. Like, if you're surrounding yourself with people that are just in their comfort zone and kind of homebodies and don't want to achieve the things that you're seeing, they're being like, maybe I do want to go explore the world or do something. Well, then you're probably going to end up staying home because you're not around people that are on that same wavelength. But with Lauren and I, we both like, as soon as one of us have an idea, it's like, oh my gosh, I love that you're thinking that because I was just about to say it. So it's like,
so true.
We're so aligned with like what we kind of want in this life and where we're at right now in life that it works out perfectly for our friendship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking like you can kind of tell when you're in a room with someone and you say like a big goal or a big dream, and you can tell the people you can say it to, and then you can tell the people that are kind of like are not meeting you there. Like they're kind of like, it's just, you can almost see it in a room. I'm like, I know you're not, you think I'm crazy. I'm just going to act like I didn't even notice that and just keep going with
people
what
think I'm crazy. Like, I hope that I dream too big that you think I'm nuts. Because, like, if I can see it and visualize it in my mind, like, why can't I reach it? So it's like, how can I get to that visualization and that manifestation that I'm trying to achieve? It's like just putting yourself out there, and it sounds crazy, but once you get there, like when I started wanting to move to America, like 7 years ago, I didn't think I'd be a permanent resident. Like, but look how far I've come. So it's like, it seems so out of reach until you're in the motions of it, and then you get to like that goal that you had. You're like, oh, I've already come this far. Why don't I think crazier? Why don't I dream bigger? You know?
Right. You have to be Delulu a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to surround yourself with people who support that, who also dream big.
Who are just as Delulu.
Exactly. You are just as Delulu. And then also just to make sure that you have no self-doubt.
Yes.
Like that's a big one too.
Okay, so both of you separately walk us through what you've achieved in the last 2 to 3 years. Like, what are the things that you've done? Whether it's like you've done this event, you've done this experience, you've traveled here, you've done this thing.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
That's fun.
In a few years,
I want people to
to
kind
lifetimes.
of really understand how much you guys do.
So personally, starting 3 years ago.
Or
well,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, 2 years ago. Wow, we've done so much.
I know.
Where to start? I started my company. I launched my company, which was really big for me. I left a very toxic relationship. I moved into my dream penthouse apartment, literally that I've wanted since I was a child. I traveled the world to places that I've always wanted to go, like the Monaco Grand Prix. I walked the red carpet in the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah, that was wild.
Wow. What have we done?
Super Bowl, F1.
Yeah, we go to all the Super Bowls, go to F1s, travel, for just incredible events around the world, met incredible people. Just so many things crossed off my bucket list, and so I just have to keep adding more stuff to it.
You guys have been to Stagecoach now, Coachella every year. You guys just have like a very fun life, and then you guys are successful.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really fun. I feel like our travel plans, like the way that we kind of think too, is like we'll know that we want to do the Cannes Film Festival, Monaco, go live in London for a bit, and then finish in Barcelona. So we got, okay, there's 4 weeks there that we're out. So then when we get back, we work our ass off because then we know in like 4 more weeks we're going to be off again. Like we just plan things that we want to be at and want to do and put the right steps into place to do them. But I think that's what makes life so fun. Our life moves so quickly. Like my mum will call me, she'll be like, what country are you in? I'm like, oh, I just got to Barcelona. Like they never know where we're going to be, but I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Of course. And we work hard to do that, right? So when it's just us two, we have to come back, we have to work, grind, and then we go play. So it's big on balance.
Oh yeah, we need the balance because like having that mental clarity too, to like be traveling and doing all these crazy events, like it does take it out of you. And like we do work so well in our routines as well. And I crave like being in my routine and being centered and like taking that time for myself and being by myself to like really get back into that manifestation and our long-term goals. But on the way, we like to tick things off our bucket list and do those short-term goals too. And I feel like we're doing a pretty good job of it because she started High Drive, filmed like 67 episodes of my show now. We're going back to London next month to film more. And it's just like, I just got like another job hosting. So I feel like the career is moving in the right direction, but the fun thing is we get to have fun along the way. So
exactly. We're very firm believers in living life for the now. Neither of us have ever thought that we want to work really hard, and stay home and do all this and then enjoy life later in life. We want to do it now while we're young and vibrant and, we can travel as best friends and like solo and not married. And, we have the means to because we work really hard. So that's why we go and we can't get lost in the sauce, right? So we go travel, we have so much fun, and then we come back and we grind towards our long-term goals. You're successful in your career. I'm building my company, and it's just, it realigns us in our routines, even just with our workouts and healthy, being healthy and all, and then being able to go play a little bit because it's that balance.
Yeah, you need it. It's like fulfilling.
I will say it's also motivating because when we're going to all these places around the world and we're seeing different lifestyles and cultures and dreams that we could have, it makes it so motivating for you to get back and work harder so you can go experience more of this life. So because you get a taste of it, you're like, well, I want to go back there soon. Like I don't want to wait years to go back there. And we say to each other too, we get to travel right now as best friends, but being in this era of our life where it's not going to last forever, we might only have a couple years left before one of us wants to like get married or settle down and have a different life or be pregnant. You never know. So we're so in the now and so present that I think that is really important to us too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like we're talking as a married couple already.
When do we not?
Okay, walk us through what you've achieved in the last 2 years.
So the last 2 years they've been incredible. Since I picked up my show in real life, that was a game changer for me because it really put me in the hosting space on a different level than I was in before. And the confidence that I've found throughout the industry has really benefited me and opened up more doors and opportunities. So there's a new show. I don't know if I can talk too much about it now, but it's going to be like that next step that I'm looking for in my career. But not only that, I feel like mentally, physically, and like emotionally, I've been like in the best spot of my life as well. Like I really focus on my routine and everything and do little side projects here and there. But also stunt training, TV hosting, acting, all that fun stuff. That's a journey within itself because it's more just the grind of staying consistent rather than seeing any like immediate results from your hard work. So I do like 5 classes a week just to try to get myself on track for my career. So that in itself is just like a grind, you know? But career-wise, I'm really happy. And then travel-wise, I mean, same as her because I'm with her all the time.
So where have you gone in the last 2 years? What are all the places?
Oh my gosh. Dubai, Cannes, Monaco, London, Barcelona, Bali. No, there's so much more.
So many Vegas, so many Miami.
Oh, I kind of think Saint-Tropez.
Paris.
Yeah, Paris. Like when I think about it, life's moved so quick. I'm like, I'm thinking about the trip coming up in a week and a half.
Australia, obviously.
She hasn't come with me to Australia
I haven't been to
yet.
Australia yet, but that's so many places even just for 2 years. That's a lot of vacations. And like going to Vegas multiple times, going to Miami multiple times. We're gone every month.
Yeah, wow.
Or I usually have kind of every month. Me, maybe every other month.
Yeah, wow.
Usually my thing is like I have 2 weeks at home and then I'm off again.
That's insane.
And it's like, it seems to be consistent since like, I was like counting for a while, but it was like October 2022 that I started noticing that and it hasn't stopped and it's 2024. So
do you like it though?
I do. I will say it's exhausting sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm just not done being home yet. Like I feel like I just got back and I need a little bit more time, but then I get to where I'm going and I'm like, nah, I'm fine. I can rest later.
And to clarify, that's sometimes like for work. So
Yes.
she travels for work to film her show and stuff. That's not just vacation every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So like I just filmed my show in LA and then I'm going to London next month. And then once I get back, I go to Vegas and then I go back to Miami. So like my show jumps around and then I fit in like work, our travels in between there. And I'm like, I'm just paying for an expensive storage unit at this point for my apartment. Like I'm never even there.
Wow. Crazy.
It's crazy.
I was kind of curious if you guys have experienced like a friendship that you guys have had before, like, or if you guys identified like that type of friendship and then you guys like locked in on each other. Is that like
We love this question.
yeah.
Please ask.
I'm kind of curious about that.
Yes. So I feel like I searched my whole life for a best friend like Lauren. I had never really truly felt the like connection between a friend that was no judgment, true support, uplifting, motivating. Like I can truly say she's made me a better woman just by being her friend. Like, I don't know what I would do without you, especially being so far away from my family and like my sisters. I truly have a sister in Lauren. There's nothing I can't come to her about, whether good or bad or everything else in between. Like, she's my ride or die. You're my partner in crime.
My girl.
I could cry.
I love you. And I feel the same way. I mean, I'm an only child, so I get a chosen sister, which is amazing. Casey has also made me a much, much better woman. I love learning from you and all your beautiful attributes. And we're just so aligned. Like we have the same interests, we have similar goals, even down to like our taste in food and drinks. Like we are just so aligned. And it's so rare to have somebody in your life that is like such a genuine source of support and love. No jealousy, no arguments. Like we've been friends for 8 years. We've maybe fought once.
And it was the most ridiculous
and it was
thing.
because we're just drunk.
And then I'm like, what are we doing? This is stupid.
Yeah, and then we're like, what? This is dumb. Yeah, let's just not do this. So that's like a really interesting point in itself, because usually when you're around someone so much, there can be animosity or, you know, because we're both working for our careers, it could be anything. But realistically, we are just so in tune and we just get along fabulously.
Yeah.
People even ask us, like, when we get back from a trip, like, how did everything go? Like, you guys on, like, good terms? I'm like, yeah, we didn't want to leave each other. I, like, wanted to cry when I dropped her off. I'm like, come back. Don't leave me.
I get home, I'm like, wait, there's no one in my bed. It's so weird.
And I, like, text her instantly. I'm like, oh, my God, so it's been, like, 10 minutes.
It's true. And we're very blessed and we feel really lucky to have each other because very rarely do you find, like, you know, friendship like that. So like she said, searching our whole lives for someone like this, for a relationship, I really feel like I found my soulmate. Like the love of my life is in my best friend, which is a really beautiful feeling to have because I feel so fulfilled and I feel so supported and loved and all this that I'm not looking for anything else, anyone else that comes into my life, like in the sense of like a man or romantic partner, like you're not fulfilling something that's empty inside me because I'm already so full of love. You're just adding beauty to my life.
Yeah, it's such an added bonus. It's so amazing. Like the friendship is just like nothing I've ever experienced. Yeah, I love us.
I love us too.
What about how was your guys' life before you guys realized that you can have this mindset of being lucky and creating the things you want to create? What was your mindset like before? Were you guys always like this? Just because I know there's probably people at home that are like, I feel stuck, or I don't know, like your guys' life sounds amazing, but I don't know what to do. Like this is so not resonating with me because I'm not there yet. So like, how were you guys before, and what was the turning point that like got you guys to be this way of thinking?
Yeah. For me, I've always been kind of happy-go-lucky with my life. Obviously, things haven't worked out exactly the way that I wanted them to in certain aspects. That's just life. But I think it's just about being optimistic. Like every time that I wanted something, I was just always like sometimes delusionally optimistic that it was going to work out for me and I was going to make it happen no matter what. Like it's not a question for me. If I want it, I'm going to get it. And I'm so happy and positive towards it. I'm like, of course, like, you know, I'm going to take the actionable steps to do that.
Yes.
And so if there was ever a time that I was stuck, I would just unstick myself, right? It's all in your mental. So if I'm going to believe that this is, you know, unachievable, then it's going to be unachievable. But if I'm going to be like, no, I can figure it out. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to. We'll see. Then, you know, then you get it.
And like previously, were you always like this mindset, even since you were younger? You kind of just knew that you can create your own reality and be positive, or like, was that a natural part of you, or did you?
Yeah, I wish I could be more relatable. Like,
no, I don't
say
know.
that no, there was never a time that I didn't believe in myself.
That's good.
And that I didn't think that, you know, anything is possible if I put my mind to it. It's just how I was raised. My father taught me that. He instilled a ton of confidence within me and a ton of belief that you can do anything you set your mind to.
Wow.
So I think it's a big important, like your outside factors and like, you know, that not everyone is blessed to be raised with that type of support. But you can find it within yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
I always thought it was fascinating how, Lauren, you said like growing up as an only child, like she had to like kind of the power of the mind for you, and just being your best friend, you've taught me that is like, you are what you eat, you are what you think, you know? So if you're telling yourself you can't, she had to get creative on her own because she grew up as an only child. So she would create all these realities for herself, and like being your best friend, I see that because her mind is so strong. Like I've relied on your mind before when I haven't been in the best headspaces to help me get through things. Her mind is so strong. It's actually so admirable. No, seriously, I see it in you. It's crazy. Wow. But for me, not necessarily. Like I didn't always, you know, dream this big. It kind of got to a point in my life, I was about probably 21, and I just this voice in my head telling me like, I'm destined for more than this. Like I can't just be an esthetician for the rest of my life and just live in this little city, and like this can't be the end goal for me. And something like switched, and I just like, I don't know what it is, but I need to go find it. I need to go get it. And that's when I booked my 8-month trip around the world. I didn't think I was going to end up moving to America. I thought I was going to go live in Bali, but I just knew I was destined for more than where I was at. So when it switched for me, I just went out and got it. Like
It's about that action.
I was about that action. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was looking for. I just knew I had to go and find it. And I ended up finding it here, and like look at everything that's happened since 2017 when I moved here, my whole life changed because I just listened to that feeling of just needing and wanting more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a ton of resources to do that.
Oh,
so
no.
for people who might feel stuck or might not be in the best position, whether that's like whatever financially or all this, like you went backpacking,
Yeah.
you made it work.
I stayed
you
in
picked
hostels.
picked up little jobs along the way, just
Yeah.
making it happen, not necessarily going in with this big budget to like go travel the world
Yeah.
for 8 months. Like you were working.
My travel life looked very different back then. I was literally had backpacks. I was staying in hostels and dorms, mixed like dorms with men and females. And I'd wake up and there'd be like Spanish speaking guys in my room. I'm like, morning. Like, I don't know. Now it's full of all these Spanish guys. Hey. But it was such a crazy experience because like I would never travel like that again. But I was staying there for like $10 a night. So like it made that trip like doable. And then I started working on boats. So it's like you don't have to have the financial means to make the first step. Yeah, you have to have a little bit to get on a flight and go. But you can create your own reality. Like I find jobs in Croatia, like just randomly working. Like if you want something, you can really truly go get it. And I feel like I believe, like since living the life that I've lived, that's why my mind's so strong. If I want something, I'm going to go get it because I know that I've already done it before, so I can do it again. Like today kept me with a good time.
I know that's right.
I was also thinking like we all, and I look back to me when I was younger, and I think for anyone listening is like, or even where you are now if you're not young, is kind of like you all kind of know if you're because someone might be listening and being like, do I believe that I could have more? But it's like that quiet voice within you. If you really sit with yourself, like we all are destined to have more and like believe in ourselves, and we all have a purpose. So kind of like quieting yourself and going in and figuring out what that is for you. And even if you don't know what it is, what you can do to figure out what it's not is if you look at your life now and picture this path, like does that make you happy? Because some people might, like you said, being an esthetician, like you probably looked at what that would turn into in the future and you're like, I don't want to be this. Like I shouldn't be doing this, right? And so we all have that. And I think it's like we might not know the path, but it's kind of just like look at your life and fast forward. If this doesn't resonate with you, then like you said, take little steps or put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and those things are going to unlock opportunities, and you might go somewhere totally different, like you said, but just be in the flow of now you're a little more trusting of new things to come.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And everyone will tell you you only grow in that uncomfortable space, but it's just a matter of like you have to try. Like if you're sitting with yourself and like you just have to try. You have to take a first step, put yourself out there, one foot after the other, and that's the only way you're going to get where you want to go.
100%. I feel like I'm living proof of that. Like I never thought that life would turn out the way it did, but just trusting your intuition. If your gut's telling you to change something, it's coming from somewhere. And if you want to make a change, you're going to have to do it yourself. You can't wait for anyone to come save you. You're the only one capable of making change in your life.
Absolutely.
So when you're in a bad time in your life, say you're dealing with something, you're having like a lull or you're not feeling happy or something, how do you guys get yourself back into a good place? What are some like tools that you use or do that would help others?
I lean on the people around me for support. I lean on my friendships. When I'm not feeling me and I'm feeling like I'm in a bad place, which happens, I look outward. And then, you know, I'll reach out to Casey. I'll tell her what's going on with me. And she showers me with endless motivation and love and support and checks in on me and motivates me and gives me hype talks and like is in my face like, what do you do? You got this? Like, you know, like amazing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, you're that bitch. I'm like, yeah, I'm that bitch. Like, you got this. And I love it.
For the people in the back.
Yeah. And she lets me cry on her shoulder and then she just, you know, lifts me up. So for me, it's really big on just leaning on the people around me, my family, but mostly my friends.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I feel like I've gone through some tough times, like we spoke in the last podcast with the hormonal issues that I had, and it's okay to not be okay. But what it's not okay to do is like kind of suffer in silence sometimes, because you end up eating yourself alive from the inside out, because again, you are what you think. So I feel like being able to express yourself in a safe place and know that there's no judgment and that you get really sound advice. And sometimes like the truth hurts as well. Like say if like you need to hear the hard truths, like you don't need someone to just sugarcoat everything for you all the time. It's like you can change your life. And I know it can be hard sometimes in those headspaces to find the light, but relying on people that understand you and want the best for you, like you'll always find exactly where you need to go and find that light. And I feel like I have that in my friendships and my support of my family too. But I think it's always important to ask for help if you're not feeling your best.
And we're big believers in therapy.
Oh yeah, I love my therapist.
Yeah, like I've been in therapy. I love it. It helped me tremendously. I know we're fans of it. We think everyone should do it. But
Yeah, I agree.
Even on the good days.
yeah, so even so if you didn't have like somebody to confide in or to lean on in that sense, like there's always professional support.
Yeah, I agree. That's huge. I was going to say something else that I thought of.
If anyone wants a good morning hype, they can watch Lauren's stories for the morning wiggles.
Yeah, you know it.
The morning wiggles
the
will never let you
vibes
down. She does that when we're overseas too. She'd be like, come on, girl, get up. And I'm like, didn't we just go to bed?
Get up, let's dance. Let's dance. She's just like,
I'm like, shut up. Go back to bed.
yeah, just because I don't record it doesn't mean I'm not doing it. That's every day for me.
I love that. What about, have you guys been in a place where you feel uninspired? And then in those moments, what do you do?
Oof. I get in those moments a lot, actually.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I just kind of give it time. Like what happens is like you're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to be inspired. You just really have to be disciplined, right? So there are days that I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like I'm tired. I just want to stay in bed, whatever. And then, you know I made a promise to myself and I'm like, I just have to do it. Like I just have to do it. And I go through the motions. And at the end of the day, I'm really happy that I did it. You know what I mean? So you just got to push through. In my mind, it's just about being disciplined.
Yeah, consistency is key for sure. But I feel like when I've been like stuck in a rut or not motivated, like I know it's not easy to like go away or just like take a brain break. Like if I go to the gym and start my morning with that, then the motivation will come for the rest of the day. You know, like if there's a task that's like really draining you or something, just step away for a second and revisit it in a different headspace. I feel like when you're like not motivated and everything's annoying you and you're like looking at it for too long or you're working on it for too long, it actually sends me insane. Whereas if I go take a breather, you might just go see a friend for a little bit, go to the gym, and I'll come back and I'm like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
But you know, just taking those little breaks when you need them and not be too hard on yourself when things aren't aligning. But definitely consistency is key.
Do you guys have like a vision board or anything that you guys, I know you like plan out far ahead your life.
I don't put it on a vision board because I see it in my mind.
Wow.
I have it in my mind, but I've never been a big vision board girly. I love when people do them. I think they're super cute and I think it's great, but I just also only child. I have like a super vivid imagination. Wow. So I like to look and see it exactly how I want it. I might not find it in like the magazine clips. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about you?
I feel like I'm very creative. So like I have made vision boards in the past, but honestly, we talk about our goals and dreams a lot together and like you challenge my mindset of like how I'm going to take the steps and actions when I'm on a high from filming. That was really great. She's like, okay, what are you going to do with this feeling to like make your dreams come true? So it's like, we're both aligned with what each other want. Like I want her goals and dreams for her as much as she does. And she wants the same for me. So I think like keeping each other accountable and like where we're going and not get too far off track. And if there are like doubts in the journey, like address them and talk about them together. But because we discuss things so often, it's like you don't necessarily have to write it down because we're discussing it all the time.
Yeah, that's so true. I want you to go more into that moment you just said, like when you're on a high, and you said to manifest more for people that don't understand that. Yeah. Go into that.
What?
Like, so when you're on a high, what I tell Casey is when she's on the high and she's really excited about life, I'm like, okay, put this feeling in a jar.
Yeah.
And bust it out whenever like you're not feeling like this. And, you know, while you're on that high, what is something that you can do to channel that feeling and channel that energy to push you further towards your goals and towards your dreams? And then,
it's
you
crazy.
answer and you're like, oh yeah, I could do this. I'm like, that's fantastic. Let's channel that and do that.
That was great advice because like I just filmed a couple of weeks ago and it was some of the best episodes. I felt so confident. I just like knew I was on my right path and like so motivated and inspired, not just for hosting, but stunts and acting. Like I got a taste of just where I want my goals and dreams to go. And I called Lauren. I was like, I just want to share this feeling with you because it's like, I feel so motivated. I feel like the adrenaline that I was feeling just from my job was crazy. And she's like, so what are we going to do now? What are these steps? Like, remember this feeling. And I have remembered it. Like when I've like been reaching out to different things and like working on this next project, I'm like, that feeling that I got in that moment, she's like, embrace it. so I have, and I can now think back onto it because I really paid attention to how I felt in that present moment, which I think is so important. Sometimes life moves too quickly and you miss those highs. And it's important. I also remind Lauren sometimes, because she might launch a new flavor of Hydra. I'm like, I come over with flowers and balloons. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's so cute that you guys do
but I'm like,
Celebrates
don't get
all the little wins.
Yeah, celebrate each little milestone, because before you know it, you might reach the end goal, but like everything in between led you to that moment. So we keep each other accountable of writing out those highs, embracing them, feeling them in the present moment, so that the next one can feel that much better. And you can like, you can just hold on to that, you know.
And use it as fuel.
Yeah.
And celebrate everything in between.
I know, it's so true. There's this guy that I'm friends with that I grew up with. He sold his company for $300 million. And he always tells me, he's like, now that he doesn't have it anymore, he's like, he like is just like, wow, why didn't I like appreciate the journey more? Because now his like favorite memories are building it.
Exactly.
And it's crazy.
That's exactly what my advisor says. I was with my advisor yesterday, actually. We had a lunch meeting, and he said the same thing. He was like, every little step, really let it soak in, because he also exited his company for hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's like, looking back, he was like, those were the best days, were these little like hard days, rather than the exit. That's not like, doesn't give you that feeling of satisfaction. So you have to, you know, appreciate the journey.
Yeah, and after that, you're kind of like, all right, I'm chilling. And you're like, wow, I just went through so much. And then I was like fast forwarding through it. Not even like I love that you guys celebrate the wins. It's like a huge thing.
We stop and smell the flowers.
We really do. And as important it is to stop and smell the flowers, even the low points teach you a lesson. And it teaches you so much about yourself and your strength and your growth and how capable you are of overcoming obstacles. And I think like the lows are just as good as the highs, because when the highs feel that good, it's like they had to come from the beginning, right? So
true.
I feel like the roller coaster is the best part of the journey. Like I love
I'm
roller
so
coaster.
happy you said that too.
Yeah, it's really important to embrace those, because I've learned so much strength in my character from the lowest points. And that makes the highest points feel like that person would be so proud that thought they couldn't get to this point. So I feel like that roller coaster of emotion and the journey of building something is like, it goes hand in hand with the highs and lows, you know?
I have an alert that goes off on my phone. Like if I want to be extremely wealthy, I have to be okay with any problem, because the more successful you get, the bigger the problems are. If you look at very successful people, they're dealing with some crazy things that you're like, oh my God, I can't even imagine having 100+ lawsuits at my company. Like Apple, think about Apple has thousands of lawsuits against them, like Tesla, all these companies, right? But they're so wealthy and they're so big that they're just like, it's a normal Tuesday. Right. Like it's not a big deal for them, because like the bigger you get and the more successful you get, the bigger the problems seem to be to people that aren't there. So like you said, if you want to be successful and you go through these lows, it's not a bad thing. It's actually shaping your character.
Yeah. Character building for sure.
And also with the problems, everybody has their own threshold for issues and stress, right? But problems that might not be so big versus problems that are extremely big, like if those, like Apple, for instance, having this massive thousands of lawsuits, like that's a lot of stress. But someone who has like just, you know, family problems or trouble in their marriage might feel that same level of stress.
So true.
Because you only have an X amount stress threshold. So whether or not that problem is big or massive, how you're going to let it affect you,
So
it's
true.
not dependent on how big the problem is itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
it's how you
It's just being
personally-
okay with
yeah.
dealing with them.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the problem might be like, oh my God, I could never imagine handling it, but you're handling your problems now and it's stressing you out. And you're like, I'm so stressed out. I don't think I could be more stressed. Well, if you were in their shoes, you'd feel probably the same way.
And after you deal with those problems and you look back, you always look back and be like, damn, I can't believe I dealt with that. Good for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Period.
you do afterwards once
But
you're out of
it's
it.
character building. That means the next time something crazy comes along, you're like, oh, I got this. So you're going to handle it so differently. And I feel like that's the journey of life, right? Like I don't deal with things like I did 3 years ago. I deal with them a lot differently now because I've learned from those past highs and lows. So yeah, I think it's important to embrace that journey and embrace your own character too. Just because someone else might handle something better in a difficult situation, don't be hard on yourself, but you can learn and grow.
That's why you celebrate the wins, because initially anyone that's like keeping themselves dedicated to something, it's hard for everyone, right? And so when you do certain things, like you achieve the full day that you wanted to have, like celebrating yourself and being proud of yourself and be like, wow, I'm so proud of you, and having that moment with yourself. And then also some days where you don't do it, I always hear that you shouldn't be too hard on yourself, because then you're like instilling that more and then you repeat it more often, whereas you more soft with yourself when you don't do it and really proud of yourself when you do.
Yeah.
And then like
100%. Like my weeks that I'm crazy filming and I get back on it's a Monday and I'm like, I just want like a day to relax. But it's so hard to sit still when you're so used to being moving and busy and on the go. But to give yourself that grace to reset. Like I don't want to burn out either, but and it's okay to take a day to reset yourself, to like start again, because you can't function at like full speed on an empty tank. So I think it's like important to take those days, not be hard on yourself, so that when you do have those really amazing days, they feel great and you feel full of life after it. You don't want to burn yourself out as well.
yes.
I agree completely. And one day isn't going to make or break your dreams. So actually, this happened to me earlier this week on Tuesday. I had this whole day planned and I woke up and I was so tired. I had 3 espresso shots and an energy drink, which is unlike me.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, no, I was like, I could not get in the groove. And I was just like, I can't, like, I felt like I was burnt out, honestly. And I wanted to get all this done. And then I had to think, you know, I'm gonna relax. Like I need this. I need to recharge. I'm gonna allow myself to do this, and I'm not gonna be hard on myself because I need this, and I'm gonna put me first, right? More important than anything else. So I relaxed that day, and I recharged, and I got some tiny things done here and there. Nothing what I initially planned for, but I was like, it's okay. And then I woke up on Wednesday, and I had a ton of energy, and I felt great, and I crushed everything. And I was like, okay, I'm proud of myself. It's okay to take those days. Everybody has them. When you have them, just really embrace it. And like you said, you just have to be kind to you.
Yeah,
So true.
I love a good rut day. We all deserve one.
Love a rot day.
Well, like self-care in general just like resets like your energy, you know, like your mind. I
Yes.
think it's like it's essential for that, for if you're in super stressful environment and you're trying to like manifest like the things that you want. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're not taking like your own self-care moment to slow things down, like you can't come back with 100% energy like right after, unless you're taking self-care.
100%.
Completely. No amount of caffeine is going to get you through that. You have to be okay in here.
I think it's good to like put on do not disturb, switch off, like especially people that work on their phones or you're always on calls. Like if I want to get home and cook myself dinner and take that time for myself, put your phone on do not disturb. Don't touch it. Don't get distracted by social media. Like really take that time to go inside yourself and spend time with you to make yourself feel good. Recharge the batteries so then you can show up for your friends and your employees or the people that you're working with to give your best self to, because you can't give your best self if you're not feeling it, and it shows too.
Yes.
Whenever I see Casey's do not disturb on, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, she needs a moment.
Yeah, I'm like, it's been a
do not
day.
disturb on. I'm like, all right, never mind.
You're like,
it'll wait.
She's like, it's only 2 o'clock. I'm like, leave me alone.
It's always like after 7. Yeah. I'm like, she's clocked out.
Yeah, but I'm in the bubble vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I was also thinking is, have you guys heard of feminine? I heard this on another podcast, but they're like, feminine energy is attracting, like just being in flow and attracting things to you, and masculine energy is like, go get it, achieve it. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. So like,
Yeah.
as sometimes I'm too much in my masculine, so I'll be like, go get it, achieve it. And then sometimes I've really realized you have to like balance the two very well, because when you're too like go, that's when you like burn yourself out, or you're like, it's like not the best place for
Dynamic.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a super interesting
Yeah, we've
topic
talked
because
about
it's
this.
like where do we fall, right? Like we want to be in our feminine and we want to be cute and
just a
small.
girl.
I'm just a little baby, you know, and allow things to come to us and not have this like kind of like go-getter mentality consistently, especially in relationships too. You just want to be like a soft, feminine little
Yes.
baby girl. So we have worked very hard to have a very fine balance between having that like ambition that could, you know, lean us into a more masculine, but only in certain areas of our life, and then lean into our feminine in the ways that it would most benefit us in other areas of our life.
Yeah, I feel like we both are very strong, independent people that want our own dreams and goals, and I feel like it is hard to kind of step back from that masculine energy sometimes. And we've discussed this a few times, and like people that you're around and how you feel in certain situations that like bring out those different sides of you. But I think that's also comes down to self-care and like looking after yourself as well. Like that brings me back into my feminine, but like when I'm out like working hard on my goals and dreams, I'm a go-getter, I'm doing it, I'm in my masculine because I'm going after what I want. But you can do it within your own self. You don't have to rely on your surroundings to be in either. I think that you can like create that healthy balance on your own.
I agree that, like you just said, the self-love, like the self-love or self-care is self-love, and it's your feminine. So like, what are certain things you guys do to feel self-love for yourself?
Oh, this is my favorite. I love cooking at home, like pouring a glass of red, cooking, like going to the grocery store maybe like after my last errand of the day and like picking up something specifically for that night, like literally dating myself. I'll set up the dinner table with just for me, have my like nice glass of red and make myself a beautiful dinner. And to me, that's like treating myself to something that I really enjoy doing because it kind of is like therapy. I just get like put on some nice music, dance around my kitchen, get in the zone, switch off from the day. I find that so relaxing for me that it gets me unwind from the afternoon. And so many people like, film your recipes, do this. I'm like, no, that's my time to unwind and relax. And like, yes, I could, but like I just enjoy it so much that it really makes me feel like self-love. And then also, don't get me twisted, I love me a bubble bath. Like the amount of bath bombs I have in my house is insane. I just love just like melting. I put like my like Netflix over the bath and just rot in there for a little bit. It's so nice. But I'm all about those self-care actions for sure. And I do them way too regularly, but I love it.
No such thing as too much, girl.
Yeah, right.
You can never love yourself too much like that. You treat yourself well. Mine is similar, but it's at the opposite end of the day, right? So I like to start in the mornings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'll literally wake up look in the mirror and be like, just talk to myself really nicely and be like, oh, you look good. We're going to have an amazing day today. Like, you're that bitch, right? Yes. And then I put on some fun music and I dance around and I just get my vibes up and I'm like, oh, I'm just so happy here. Like, like I even walk out to my living room and I see my beautiful view and I'm like, oh, I just love it. Like, it's just so nice. And I have all these like little things that just reinstill this positive outlook and, you know, this optimism within me. And then I just allow it to kind of soak up and then lead my day. And like, I feel like I just walk different in the world when I start my days like that. It makes me happier. Like the sun just shines a little brighter, you know?
Yes, I agree.
I've seen her in the morning. She's so smiley and happy all the time.
I'm a happy girl.
I know. I think it's also like how you take care of yourself as well. Like if you get yourself a little bit ready in the morning, you're going to feel a little bit sexier throughout the day. Like if you're going to the gym and working on your body, if you're eating healthy and like all those little tools are also self-care. It's because you're not going to feel good on the outside if you're not taking care of the inside too. And I feel like you feel a little bit sexier, more motivated when you're doing all those things that make you show up the way that you want to show up. Yeah.
Facts.
So as always, I love you both so very much. You guys are so special to me and just so motivating and empowering. And you guys are very different, but complement each other very well. Like you guys are just lovely people to be around. And I just am so proud of how much you guys are constantly achieving. And so I'm really grateful you guys both came on.
We love you.
Yeah, thank you for having us together. It's fun.
Yeah. So I always do this, and I know that we've probably had it on another episode of manifesting something, and they probably heard it on a previous episode what you guys are manifesting. So maybe do a small manifestation. What is something smaller you guys are manifesting that's more immediate right now?
So many things.
I know.
Something smaller.
Because on our last episode, you showed me yours and you showed me yours.
Smaller is like I really want this next step in my career. Like if this next project that I'm trying to bite my tongue because sometimes I've been in so many situations before where things just don't work out, but I really, really, really have been working so hard for this next step in my career, and this new opportunity could put me in that direction. So like I'm manifesting for that next step to come because I feel like I'm really ready for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Something similar, I'm manifesting. I got an opportunity presented to me from one of the biggest platforms where they want me to come into the headquarters and start working with them on my brand, on Hydra. And so I'm really excited. I'm manifesting. I actually go in 3 days. So, because cool. Today's Friday, so on Monday. So I'm manifesting that the meeting is going to go phenomenally and I'm going to get everything out of it that I want. And it's going to just catapult my business to exactly where I want it to be. Like I know it can.
I believe in you.
You got
believe in you too.
Thanks.
It's not
Thanks,
a matter
girls.
of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
Facts. Not an if, a when.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, tell everyone where they can find you guys both on social media.
My Instagram is kspoon and my OF is kspoon too. And then my show in real life is on OFTV.
So good.
Yeah.
And my Instagram and OnlyFans is Lauren Blake.
And your Hydra.
HydraPowders.com, and Hydra is found on Amazon and TikTok Shop.
Thank you guys for coming on. I love you both.
We love you. Thank
Tara.
you for having
You're
us.
the best.
I really wanted you both on at the same time. Thank you, my $1 billion baby, for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe and comment what parts resonated with you the most. As you know, I read all your comments, and I love you all so much. I'll see you next week.